Mostly,
Cool.
I'll just answer questions people have.
It's such a great idea, and I'm actually, I'm like the least techie person to be doing this, but I'm helping Max's classroom, that they're using Google Classroom for his school, and it's becoming very clear very fast. Oh, we got one other person, yay! It's becoming very clear very fast that the school doesn't have a lot of know-how about how the internet works compared to how much know-how the 4th and 5th graders have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Let's see who's here. We've got, oh, it's Nancy. Oh, no, that's me, actually.
Mm-mm. I feel like there are a couple cats, but I could be wrong.
A couple what?
A couple cats, but I'm not sure who.
Yeah, I think maybe Nancy might have logged in to see who was using the Zoom, which is me, because we're doing this. But yeah, if no one at all logs in, I also wouldn't be completely shocked.
Yeah, that wouldn't be terribly surprising. There's a lot going on nowadays.
How are you doing? Let's talk about you.
Doing pretty good. Decorating my apartment more.
Yeah?
Actually, now I just live in front of the hangar since I can't actually use it.
Yeah. Okay, what cat is here? Is it me?
It might be you.
Oh, good. Cat is here. Cat, we decided that if only 1 or 2 people showed up for this one, since it is so specific, and that's been happening a little bit with some of these really specific ones, like Paige has had some like that we would just all chat about what our questions are. And you and I both have a lot of questions for Hannelore. So
I didn't come in with any specific questions, but I'm happy to listen.
Which cat are you? Queen of Catitude cat?
Yep.
Oh, hi. Good to see you.
Hey. Hey, I am so stoked about this officials training.
Oh, good. Good.
I have the scorekeeping one almost done. And I know Matt has a lot done on like the general orientation side of it.
Yeah, Matt got 3 of them over to me late yesterday, and then today I didn't have time to review them because I had to take an emergency trip to the dentist.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Oh yeah, so once we get moved over to Google, I'll just put the after party coordinator documentation on there. But since there's no after parties happening for the foreseeable future, I'm just going to leave it in my personal stuff.
That's totally fine. And we're constantly changing the after party coordination. So it's like, you know.
Yeah, and it'll probably be different for the first bit of time. Like this will be a great, like if we start doing live stream bouts before we do actual bouts, it'd be great to test out the hangar as a party location for all the people who bouted.
Kat, do you know Hannelore?
I don't.
Okay, introduce yourself. Speak to each other.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Hello, I'm Hanban. I've been skating for I was skating for 8 months, and then it's been 2 months since then. So almost, 1 month. So it's almost been a year because I started last June.
Nice. I have not skated a NSO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and what Kat was talking about is she's been working on a bunch of documentation. I've been pinging different people to just try to get some stuff into CoAssemble for when we do get back online. And also, I need stuff to fill my 40-hour work week with. So without putting too much pressure on people, I was trying to get some of those trainings created. You may have seen some stuff about it on the volunteer page. But Kat's helping me do a bunch for the officials.
Yeah, I for some of the other things, the scorekeeping was semi-easy to do because I could get video from the Rose YouTube. but for like jam timing and especially like penalty box, I think that we're going to have to do some just other videoing of just the penalty box because unless one of the rows cameras can go like just kind of stay on the penalty box, we don't have good examples of people coming into the box, being released, and that kind of thing.
Right. Well, we could always stage that with myself, my dog, and my kid over at the hangar.
Perfect.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 6:05. I think we're going to be the only three probably here. So, Handler, tell us the smart things you have to tell us.
I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just kind of like what for you guys is like a source of anxiety for like your technology, because that would be a good jumping off point, especially if there's like two of you. I want what I just be useful and not just kind of meaningless.
So I find. Oh, go ahead, Kat.
No, you go ahead.
I find that I get a lot of ads all the time on my phone, and my partner's phone is rooted, so he's always offering to root my phone and hack it, make sure that things don't pop up on me. But I do so many things for work and all of these different, like I'm logging into stuff on my phone all the time that has like pop-ups and all kinds of things going on. But my phone is like full of ads at this point. It's very annoying.
As far as phones are concerned, I honestly don't know much. Like I tend to like, my phone is pretty like bare bones. It's nice for the sake of a good camera, but other than that, I don't really use anything other than like Instagram and Twitter on it. And I use it for work stuff in terms of like, I use it to access Slack, and I use it to do multi-factor authentication. That's about it for my phone. I bet there are things like, well, I do use Firefox as my browser on my phone. I use Firefox everywhere. Google.
Do you really?
Yeah, Chrome went kind of evil and was just like, hey, so you know how you had all these ad blockers to help protect you from malicious software? Well, since we're an ad revenue company, we can't do that anymore. So we're just going to take those off the market. And now you have to have like a company interest involved to be able to access those sorts of things. So I switched over to Firefox, and honestly, I haven't really noticed the difference, except it works better these days. And it's better with privacy, and usually, at least in the world of computers, a lot of times privacy translates well to security, because if someone can't tell what you're doing, they certainly can't do what you're doing or control what you're doing, which is a little helpful. So you can look into that there. I know, let me see. Like, when are these pop-ups coming up?
Oh, for me?
Another, yeah.
Over top of all my apps, which are free apps, so that's how they make their money. But
oh yeah, that's kind of, there's that, but yeah, you'd have to get around those sorts of things, you'd have to root your phone.
Yeah.
Which, like, if you had a work phone, would be nice to be able to do. But
he's grabbing my phone because he's going to work on it right now because he hears me talking about it.
There you go. But yeah, phones have never been my kind of forte.
Oh, he's saying this is the non-rooted option.
Yes.
For phone security. Kat, do you have an iPhone or an Android?
I have an iPhone.
Okay.
Yeah, and iPhones are already pretty stable, but just like, it's really not surprising to me that phone security is becoming a larger deal, because I have friends where it's like, yeah, they have a laptop that they don't use, and then they basically do everything on their phone. So it's becoming a huge attack vector.
Handler, what are some basic things that we can do?
I mean, a lot of it is like a lot of it genuinely is don't go to weird websites that you don't trust.
Well, that's what I'm concerned about with Max, because now he's online for school. And I've done it a couple times where I've gone to like a weird shopping website because I'm like, what are those shoes? Those aren't
Yeah.
Blue Dogs. And then I get like, you've done that too, Kat?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
you
I have
Click on the
two,
link,
but
Most of
like
where
I mean, things
stuff
you
with
can
that
do
shit-
is like
Facebook.
use ad blockers on your browsers. So then, interesting tidbits. I don't know, tell your kids about internet security, be like, hey, don't click ads. Is another part of it. Another piece is like, as convenient as it is, don't save your card information if you can help it. Like I can do that because I don't have kids. But if I were sharing devices, any shared device wouldn't have payment information on it. Just because, especially with like younger kids, because like sometimes they wouldn't know if it was happening or not. And then,
Right.
and then everyone's in hot water before you know it. So those sorts of things. I use a password manager. So all of my passwords for basically all of my various accounts are randomly generated and then stored remotely. And then I access them through, I'm holding up my phone, two-factor authentication with my phone. And then I remember a Diceware password, which is like, so Diceware is the idea that like, oh, instead of remembering, 12 plus characters that don't make any sense, why not just remember like 4 to 7 words that you do know? And so you use, there are these things called Diceware lists where it's like 400-ish thousand words. It'll have a thing for you where you like roll 5 dice, however many times, however many words you want, and then you look up those words. And then those like 4 to 7 words, like for work, I use 7 because I work for a cybersecurity company. So that's the necessary amount. But for most people, 4 is enough, because if you have 4, like 3 to 6 letter words, that's like upwards of 30 characters, but it's really easy to remember. Like my password's 7 words long. I won't enter it in like, except like a couple times a month sometimes, and I still remember it.
Right.
So,
I'm thinking like my childhood street would be a better password than
well, that is the thing, is proper names, proper numbers, not good. Like if it's because like if it's something you would use for password recovery, it's not something that you should use. Like genuinely password recovery, I kind of like, I put in specific things and then file it away securely, like on my computer or on paper, if I need it, because like that's all information that could at some point be publicly available. Like, yeah, I could talk about my childhood dog sometime, or I could talk about where I live or whatever. Someone could know my birth year. So things like that's a proper number, by the way. It's like birth year, birth month, birthday, like you, famous people you know. Because a lot of, so like no proper names, which like include you, like surnames, maiden names, all that, children, relatives.
Which password manager do you use?
I use LastPass. Another one, I use LastPass personally, and then through work, I use 1Password. There are a few other options. You can window shop for sure, but LastPass, like their free
I like
account,
LastPass.
works really well. Yeah.
Kat, what
like
do you
it works
use?
really well.
I've been using the one on my phone, so just the Apple Manager.
Yeah, like Apple Keychain is pretty good too. Although like it really depends also, like if all you have or care about having your pass on just all the time, is like your personal computer and that doesn't leave the house, then one where it stores it on the machine itself might be safer than something that does like remote storage.
Makes
Like
sense.
LastPass, everything's all remote on their managed servers, but also like I have it on my phone, so doesn't necessarily help me if I also like stored all my passwords on my phone. Where 1Password isn't stored remotely, it's all local, but my work laptop, if it's not at home, it doesn't leave my side. So that's kind of like the level of expectation that work has for me and my behavior. Let's see, what else? There's things like Just Delete Me if you want to get rid of old accounts with places. If you can remember where you have all your accounts and whatnot. Some it's not very possible. Others it's very doable. But there are also tools that I suggest, like, well, I mean, even Chrome these days they will just like do HTTPS wherever you go, which is like, it's the way that your internet traffic is, like the protocol that's being used to send your data back and forth when you're talking to a server or a different person or whatever. HTTPS is secure and it's signed so that someone else who's like sniffing in at some point along the chain maybe can't really easily see what's going on. It's just like a layer of obfuscation that makes it a little bit harder to deal with. So I recommend, if you're using, I think it's even in Chrome, I don't know, I don't use Chrome, but I use HTTPS Everywhere is just what it's called. It's a add-on that does that. And then I use things like Privacy Badger and uBlock Origin, which are helpful if you want to. Usually this is less of a security thing and more of a privacy thing. I use NoScript, which is just like a, so like websites use a lot of JavaScript. It's, but also you can pretty easily tell where that JavaScript is coming from. So NoScript basically allows you to turn on and off JavaScript based on where it's coming from. So like I can turn off JavaScript that's coming from ads.google or Facebook or somewhere else where it's like it's not needed. And that'll both like improve the functionality of the website because there's less active software running.
I'm curious
but
about that
also,
because I know that you're a Facebook user, so and Kat is as well. I was wondering,
Mhm.
do you want to walk us through doing that on our Facebooks right now, since it's just the three of us? Because I would love for Facebook to not be tracking my every movement as much as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're using it, it just kind of is. But as far as like, since I use like here, I can just like share my Facebook feed. I don't really mind if you see that a little bit. I may actually just go to Wreckers because then it's all common stuff. Okay, so if I, and here's another tip is don't share a screen, share a window. So this is just, so like this is what, I mean, I'm using the new Facebook UI, but this is what Facebook looked like with my ad blocker on. It's not, there's nothing here that I don't want to be, essentially.
Right.
Although I imagine that the usual Facebook experience involves, like, there's sponsored things too, but I could probably, like, if I go in with, I can probably find, let's see. So usually what I'll do is like I can inspect the element. Spend some time just like rummaging around, but this is kind of like higher level. I don't think there's like a super easy. I'd have to look into and see if there's a way to.
But as far as the JavaScript blocker, you said you put that on your Facebook, and that helps to block.
It helps, but like, let me. So this is like what Facebook looks like on Facebook, but like say I went to, I'm trying to think of like, if I went to just like some store.
Wish.com?
Like, what?
Wish.com. Go to Wish.
Yeah, I could go to wish.com.
I've never
If I
bought
go to
anything
Wish-
from there, but the amount of weird shit that's on there, I'm constantly screenshotting and sending it to my brothers.
So even like Wish like won't load without JavaScript, which is pretty common for like a lot of websites. But if I trust Wish itself and reload it, it might load some other things. Yeah, without me logging in. There we go. So here's all of the, so like, see, here's facebook.net, which is like Facebook's, both like their remote authentication stuff, but also their remote tracking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So basically any website you use that uses Facebook's stuff, they'll typically be scrubbing information from it, but they can't do that unless I enable the JavaScript locally.
All
So
this stuff allows me to log in with Facebook, and it's super convenient, but is that a smart thing to do or no?
I mean, if you're not, I don't know, it's kind of like you're, on the one hand, you're paying for the convenience with information that, so like if that's fine with you, that's fine. It's just kind of like the knowledge of like, that's what's going on. It's like, yeah, they made this tool so that people can use this, but also like Facebook is using that information. But also like has stuff like Stripe, which is like payment stuff. Google APIs this is probably where some of their images are stored. Google Ad Services, which I have blocked. So that's like, here's all of this stuff. I'm pretty sure pin image is probably Pinterest related. And then you can see like I have Pasteball and
So all that shit
Google's.
is running while you're running this page.
Yep, all this stuff would be running, and potentially more too, because some of these, because like all the Wish JavaScript, like the JavaScript from wish.com loaded most of these. So like if I blocked this and reloaded the page, all of those scripts would be gone for the most part. So there's some like chain of command stuff that happens in terms of some scripts.
I mean, for me, Privacy Badger, I don't have anything as complicated as what you have, but you do have Privacy Badger as one of yours. Benjamin put that on my computer, and I've noticed it helps a lot.
Oh yeah, that'll help too, because like usually a lot of, because like websites will do, so like Twitter, Facebook does this too, where when you share, I don't know if I could come up with a good example, but like if I copied a link, so like say I put a link for YouTube in like on a Facebook comment chain, they might alter they'll usually put like tracking cookies like on the link itself. I don't know if I have like a good example that I can come up with offhand. Let me try something. I'm gonna try and look for a link somewhere in a chat room somewhere that I know will have like tracking cookies on it.
Kat, do you have a laptop that you use for work at home, or are you?
I have my personal laptop at home that I use for like derby stuff, and then we have work laptops that we can bring home to do our documentation, but that one's all managed by our IT guy. But I my personal laptop is a Mac, so I'm not sure how much of this goes back and forth between Mac and PC.
A lot of the browser stuff is its own beast, and it is pretty applicable.
Yeah, I use Privacy Badger on Mac, and I like that. And I use LastPass on Mac, and I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So I
Which
use Hannelore on those two.
Sorry, it kind of glitched on the second one. What was the second one you used?
LastPass
LastPass?
for passwords.
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause especially with RCR stuff, and if you get more into RCR, you too will have 8 different web platforms that you need to log into to
Nice.
navigate the system. Although we're trying to, do away with some of that. But LastPass is great. I don't know how I would go about my day-to-day without that password management.
Oh, I sent that to panelists. Whoops. There we go. So yeah, there's that. Like even like Amazon does a lot of this tracking stuff. It's kind of obnoxious. There's more like insidious things like Google Home and the like Alexa stuff where we don't actually know what's going on with the information that they're collecting from their like always on infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
Or things like, and this is more the privacy side of stuff, where things like Nest and Ring will like go around you and send the like camera feed you've been getting to the police without your consent. Yeah, and that's like, that freaks me out because like,
yeah.
I'm already like sketched out by the idea of letting someone else handle my home security like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we actually got we were like, whoa, great deal on a home security camera. Max is scared all the time. He's 10. It's normal for his age. So we put like floodlights on the outside of the house. We told him we were going to get a security camera, but we didn't want to get an expensive one because we're not scared. He's scared. We have a giant wolf dog. We're not scared. But we were just like doing it as, a placeholder for the kid kind of thing. So Benjamin got one super inexpensively, and then he was looking at how to set it up and like hacking into it and stuff because he was, trying to modify it a little bit. It turns out this cheap security camera that we got from China was weirdly sending our feed of our home security video to somewhere. Like it was,
yeah, a lot of them do that. Like there is a scare tactic some internet privacy people love to use is that there are like websites that just scrub security camera feeds from the internet and just kind of like show them. Let me see if I can find it.
Is there a one that you would recommend as far as home security, or
I know haven't looked into it, but
okay.
Generally you'd want something like the problem is that it would be complicated to set up because I would put it on, like I would set up a second router that's not connected to the internet if it were like a Wi-Fi camera, and then I would hook it up to that Wi-Fi and then put some other device on the other end of that Wi-Fi that it also isn't connected to the internet. So then you have essentially, it's not technically closed captioning or like a closed circuit system because it uses open airwaves. But that would be what I would consider like reasonably safe equivalent.
Yeah, we live in downtown Selwood, so we do have people that just come up on a porch, just check out what's going on in our window, whatever Portlandy stuff. So we ended up getting a doorbell with a camera on it, Kat, which I can send you the model if you want to. And it does, we don't have it locked down in the way Hannelore is describing, which would be better, but we do have it. So like when we're not home, we get a notification if someone's at our door, and Benjamin can look on his phone and there's a video of who it is.
Yeah.
So like one
Yeah,
time it was shredder cheese. we were out of town and someone was like up on our porch and it was shredder cheese from roller derby. But
nice.
you know, if I'm home alone, I like knowing that people, you know, even see that there's a camera,
sure.
honestly.
For sure.
But then also, you know, theoretically, if Benjamin like worked nights or something and I was uncomfortable being here by myself, I could put it on my phone so I could see every time someone comes onto the porch, it motion senses and sends me a quick video.
Yeah. Yeah, my parents have had stuff stolen off their porch, so I've been wanting them to get something like that because I don't like how people are just coming up to their door.
Yeah.
But I'm in an apartment, so I feel a little bit better about that. I'm not on the ground floor or anything.
Goodness.
It'll be interesting if Rose City ever does move to a bigger building when they're going to put me in charge of
Right.
picking a security system. I'm getting a lot more tech savvy, but I'll need people's help with that. Yeah. So if we ever do get a bigger building, one great thing about being at Oaks Park is that security is there 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a tough call. But
Yeah,
it sounds like you have good people that have good input.
Yeah, we know some smart people. Hannah, Laura,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask a really specific question.
Yeah.
My kiddos' class is all on Google Classroom now, and
Mm-hmm.
they've all learned how to outsmart the teachers 5 ways from Sunday. It's amazing. They're learning so
I
much.
kind of love that. I mean, I don't know. That's what I was doing in school. Like my parents were like, I grew up in a super conservative household. Oh, Shell's on.
Let her talk.
Yeah. And so like my parents had like all the computers locked down. There were 2 eventually. There was 1 for most of my life. And I just kind of got around it. And they didn't notice or didn't think to notice. And that was kind of like how I got into computers, was getting around.
Right. So my only concern
like
is that there is a wide range of kids at his school and everyone's trying to be successful with online learning. Like Max shared an artist's website. Hi, Shell.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
So Max shared an artist website. We're just chatting since there's only 4 of us. But about internet security. Do you have specific questions, Shell?
I don't really. One thing that I kind of would like to do at some point is kind of have split my Wi-Fi so that there's like my secure Wi-Fi, but there's also my Internet of Things Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
that's how you do Internet of Things well, is having that process that I was describing earlier of having like a closed circuit wireless camera.
Yeah.
That's what Shell is wanting to do, but for all of there are like internet connected devices which like go from like nowadays it's basically everything from like TVs to refrigerators to certain crazy light bulbs to all sorts of things, to like your Google Home or Alexa, because like to do stuff like control the kind of things you want to do, like your let me think, you know, like some people want to smart up their home. It's unfortunately not super duper safe, because then you've got like, you know, from like 1 or 2 with just like your phone and your computer to like a couple dozen pretty quickly of like internet accessible devices.
So how do you do that, Hannah, or how do you set up the 2? You have to get a separate router?
Some routers can do multiple networks, I think, but yeah, you kind of generally just need a second router. Like I have 2 routers. I haven't done it because I don't have anything like that, because I just like avoided it entirely for the most part. like the closest thing I have to it is a very, very old Sonos speaker that I still use. That is technically like an Internet of Things device, but
So you don't Google Home.
no, I don't. I avoid it. I talk about things I don't want other people hearing, and I appreciate the ability to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way, a while ago I bought one of those little Google, like the mini things, or sorry, the Amazon one. Is there a way to, if I wanted to get rid of it and not have it linked to my account? Because right now I don't have it plugged in or anything. Is there a way to like wipe it so I can get rid of it?
Let me like look into it real quick.
That's a great question. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah, because I don't use it, but I don't want it linked. Like if I give it to somebody that wants it, I don't want it linked to my Amazon.
Right. Yep. Shell, we got the speaker light bulb things where you can say, make the room pink.
Yeah, I got mine for the back porch. So it's in place of the floodlight that was out there. Because when I get that hot tub set back up,
Hell yeah.
shoot the
Okay, so you should be able to go in like to alexa.amazon.com, which should be connected to your Amazon account. And then in the settings tab, you should be able to like click on the device and deregister it if it's registered.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That's easy.
So, Shell, what I was describing when you came into the room, and I still have this question, it's my main question for the call, is Max's whole class on Google Classroom, and I think it's super cute how they're all getting around their teachers and doing whatever they want, and that's great, fine with me, I don't care. But there are parents that do care and are starting to flip out. Like for instance, my Max shared his screen with the class. So it's all happening through screen sharing, right? So
Right.
we have a Net Nanny on Max's computer, but that doesn't matter if he's on a Google Hangout with someone who plays at the Nightmare on Elm Street trailer, which happened the other day.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Because they're playing it through their Hangout, right? And so then he was terrified because he can't take that kind of shit. But
I couldn't either as a kid. Like I just recently started watching horror movies.
But
and I'm 27, so
he shared his screen, and his teacher emailed me that what he was sharing was inappropriate. And I was like, oh my God, not my kid. I'm paying attention. And I went and looked at his browsing history. It was actually an artist that we all like, a comic book artist that we think is appropriate, but other families don't, right? It's
of course. Like I grew up in a school system where Harry Potter was like a no-no.
Right,
So.
right. Like, it's like the satanic donut at Voodoo Donuts. Some people don't like it. I've been giving it to Max since he was born. So, so I'm about to have a call tomorrow night with parents to say, look, let's get on the same page about what is and is not, because I don't want my son, he was crying. He was really upset. Like people were, that he was in trouble about this. And when I looked up what it was, I was like, it's Alex Segos. It's like animals with human butts with, it's funny. Like,
I was gonna say that it's funny.
It's funny. Yeah, it's real funny. But so Hannah Laura, do you have advice for all these, like, I mean, I know that, you know, there's the products for sale, like Net Nanny type shit. I don't want them all watching hardcore porn on each other's computers either. Like I do draw the line somewhere.
Well, yeah. I mean, also it's just kind of like the kids are gonna, I mean, part of it is just like, I don't know, be the person to have these conversations with your kids.
What? Parents have to talk to their kids?
What? Talking to your kids and not being like really awkward about like birds and the bees stuff. But also like if it's all, I don't know quite how Google Classroom works because I've never used it. But it might be on your teacher for setting up settings so that students can't screen share.
Yeah, it might be as simple as that.
Like it might be it's probably as simple as that, because I know you can control that with Zoom, is that you can set it up so participants can't screen share.
Yeah.
So it's like, that would be my question, is why the heck are students screen sharing?
Right.
Because it really, like, I don't know, like it depends on the age range. Like I wouldn't even like allow high school students, especially high school students, to screen share, because then they would just use that for nefarious purposes exclusively. Because I know I would.
I said on the all school call the other day, I was like, you know, someone searching for a cute wiener dog video could go wrong real fast. And
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
I only got like 5 laughs. I mean, it's a pretty conservative group of parents. So they didn't think that was funny, but I'm dead serious on that. Like that's.
Yeah,
Even my
and it's also
exercise
just like
software,
What'd you say, Kat?
my exercise software at work, there's a stretch I like to give called the child's pose.
Oh yeah.
And when I put that in, it gives me a picture that I'd rather not see.
Oh no.
Really?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's I mean, it's an exercise, but it's for pelvic health. And that's not my area of expertise.
yep. I mean, it's also just like, I don't know. It's just kind of like part of it is there are absolutely conversations that you should probably just be having with your kids at this point, for a lot of those parents. But I know they won't want to hear it because my parents wouldn't want to hear it. Like I got the sex talk from like a group of CDs from, what was that? What's that big like? I used to know. I used to be a youth leader. Like that was how in the church I was until recently. Focus
I
on the
think-
Family. There we go.
Focus on the Family. Oh yeah, they're the best.
had
Just the best.
like a whole like sex talk on CDs that I had to listen to growing up, and it was terrible.
Oh,
Don't recommend it.
Sounds
It was
great.
It was very
Hot.
yeah. It was my like parent took me on a road trip and made me listen to all these CDs, and it was super awkward. And I already knew all of this because like I'd already like had these talks in church, but also like B at school already. I was like 16 at the time. It was like if I like had been sexually active at that point, I would have still been doing it because like it's just like abstinence only sort of stuff, and it's like no, just like
It doesn't work.
it doesn't work. Be upfront with your kids and be like, hey, if you're gonna do this, which you might, sure, be safe about it, and here's how.
Yeah,
But
I might
my
try to
kid
find
wouldn't
like
do
a tutorial or something to see if the whole class can agree on walking the kids through some sort of code of conduct for online behavior or something.
Yeah, that could work too. It's like you make a mutual agreement about what's acceptable.
Right.
And if that ends up just being don't screen share unless it's on like Wikipedia, then okay.
Shell, you have older child people. How did you?
I was always really open with her about things. My family was very open with me, almost to the point of embarrassment.
Fair.
Yeah, there was some awkward conversations. We watched some teen angst movie, and I was like 14, and my stepdad's like, "So, Shell, how far have you gone with the boy?" And like he started putting the bases, like saying the bases. I'm like, okay, stop. Right in front of my younger brother and sister too. It was terrible.
Awesome.
Yeah, but in the end, it was good. I'm glad they did that, and so I was always pretty open with my daughter. And it's still just the 4 of us, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I told her like the longer, like for every year that she waited longer than me, she could get an ice cream sandwich.
But internet
That's like-
security stuff, like is she like navigating to like is she her natural curiosity exhibiting itself with
Yeah, she's 25 now, so she's all grown up and done.
oh she's a grown-up.
Yeah, she's all grown up and done. But
She's an
Yeah,
adult child.
she was a latchkey kid, and so she was pretty much left on her own, but also she was like a total homebody, so I could like always leave her at home, and she just really didn't want to be around people. So unlike me, she wasn't sneaking people into her room.
Wouldn't
And
know anything about that.
I have no clue, right? I snuck an entire slumber party out of my room one time. And we,
That's incredible.
we hitchhiked across town and like went swimming in the rich kids' pools and then had to walk back. Anyway, but no, she was always really good. In fact, I was telling somebody today, like, because she was in trouble for something, probably for just being a mess. And I took her her power cord to her computer. She had like, with the tower, big PC.
Oh yeah.
Power cord, but it was just in my room. And she could have just gone in and gotten it during the day. And a couple years ago, she's like, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just knew I was grounded from that. And I knew but I do remember
Chronic good kid syndrome.
oh my God, she was so good. I don't know how that happened because my mom, you know, she did the curse. She said she cursed me with one like me, and I did not get that.
Mhm.
But no, she was really good. But I do remember after she started seeing her boyfriend, and you know, I mean, it was agreed that I was allowed to go in and see her email or her Facebook anytime. Like she had to share her password with me so I could keep an eye on her. I went in and I read some messages and I was like, okay, so that's where they are. I'm not going to read any more messages. I think she still doesn't know I read that. So, and they're still together.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's
Shell, we were saying at the outset that just some basic tips that Hannelore was recommending. LastPass in Privacy Badger is really simple password management and security management on either a PC or a Mac.
Yeah, let me grab a link for Diceware because I think that's a really like
I
useful.
do have
password tool.
LastPass.
Mm-hmm.
And generally it works okay for me, except for when it doesn't. And so then it scares me to have like the really insane cryptic passwords that it will generate, because I mean, I could just be hosed. So I kind of have like patterns that I use depending on what things are what, all based on some old pet, but with letters and numbers that, you know, make the word and things like that. But yeah, so it's gotten more convoluted, and I do try to let LastPass hang on to it, but man, it freaks me out on those days when it doesn't work out.
Right.
Old STD. That's a funny name. Holy moly.
Yeah, so this is Diceware. I talked about it before, but it's a dictionary that for generating a password that is easy to remember and also secure. So like instead of doing like characters and then doing difficulty just by a mishmash of characters, this one is using difficulty by like, even if someone was trying to guess your password using the Diceware dictionary, it wouldn't work by about the fourth word. So like I use a 7-word password for work, and then otherwise I would use, like if I were going to use Diceware, I have another password that I use for my master password. But if I would recommend Diceware to other people, I would say 4 to 7 is like a perfect.
That's fun too.
Yeah, and then you just get to roll a d6 a bunch of times if you really want to do that.
So with the numbers.
So like the numbers, it's you roll a d6, you roll 5d6.
Okay.
And then you do that for however many words you want, and then you go look up those words based on what numbers you got. So like the 5, so like say I just roll like at random.org is a good one. So I rolled 5d6, I got 41113. So I would go look up 41113 in the Diceware dictionary, and that would be my first word. And then I would do that like 3 more times, and then I'd have a password. So it'd be like word space, word space, word.
You'd be like cashew, glamour, birdie, deity, kind of like.
Yeah, basically.
So you'd be able to remember those words because they're real words, as opposed
Yeah,
to.
because they're real words, and then it's just like a phrase. And then you have like a 4-word phrase that you can remember.
Go to my bank
instead
account
of,
right
like-
now. Cashew, birdie, deity.
I'm
Yeah.
using groin. I'm using groin in all of them.
There you go.
That's funny.
I sometimes when I'm on a walk with Max, I'll just Shell. I think our parenting styles are kind of similar. I'll be like, "How's your pubic hair coming in?" I'll just be like, "Good, it's going pretty well." I'm like, "Cool. Got any questions?" No.
My,
We were similar to that.
my cousin once told his parents, "It's a jungle down there."
I had a friend in high school who, after some illicit illegal drinking party, which of course I bought the beer because I was the first one to turn that age. Colorado was 18 for 3.2% alcohol, or so basically beer at the grocery store. And I was the first one to turn 18. So yeah, I'd come walking out with like 12 packs of Schaefer beer. Whoa.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't know, we had some party and the guys were lighting their farts. And the next morning at breakfast, Chad's like, Mom, Dad, look what I learned last night.
Oh no.
He was a sophomore in high school and he'd like blue flamed on his parents' kitchen floor that morning. Just amazing.
Dang.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I knew a girl that we gave rides to when my daughter used to do Highland dance. Well, both of us did. And so there was a 16-year-old that I gave a ride to from our town to the town where the dance lessons were. And she started asking like questions about sex and she was like seeing some older boy. She could not talk to her mom about anything. And I had condoms in the car because I used to go down to Denver and visit friends. And so I just had condoms with me and I'm like, all right, no one else is going to tell you about this. And I grabbed one of those things and I'm like, put that on the gear shift. Here's how she's like, ew, that's slimy. So I was like, you're not, yeah. And we're going to keep tabs. You let me know when that period shows up.
Yep.
Oh, God.
That was scary. I was like, girl, he got her so drunk. Anyway.
So who has more questions, or Hannah, do you have more things to share with us?
Not really. I know those. I like in Max's like situation. I'd say you did great. You were supportive, and you're like, yeah, those people were being mean.
Yeah,
they were. They were being unnecessarily like, I don't know. You got to learn something, and that's good, and has your support, and that's better. So.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting call tomorrow night. But I will tell them that an expert told me a couple of these things, because that'll make me sound better.
Absolutely.
Let me see.
I spoke with an expert on net security for children, and what she was saying was that
I wouldn't say I'm an expert on net security.
no,
for
you're going to
children.
be on the call tomorrow night.
Oh, okay. Sure. Just don't give them
like
my
it.
name.
No, I'm gonna say we had a guest speaker for work, and I'm gonna come in with all the authority and just make it my way or the highway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Max's school killed Halloween this past year, so I took him and as many kids could fit in my car and abducted them for the day because I was like, we're not killing Halloween. That's not what we're doing.
That bad.
Yeah, there's some really conservative people. It's a school for deaf and hard of hearing kids, and it draws from all over the county.
Oh yeah.
And so we're not just talking to Portland when we're talking to people at that school.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
See that? Yeah, that clicks a bit more.
Yeah.
A bit more
Yeah.
extra protective too.
Yeah, because they get that like slew of, oh, my kid is disabled, and then
Right.
think that it means like a billion things that it doesn't.
Right.
Right.
Well, I've enjoyed chatting with you guys.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Stay on the Zoom as long as you guys want. You're the last call of the day.
Cool. I might
last
head out. I want to eat dinner.
That's a good idea.
Right. Yeah, I just had mine, and actually I have an email headed out to Catherine, but I was like, oh crap, she's got a Zoom going on right now, so I actually scheduled it to hit like around 8:00.
Ooh, an 8:00 email. I will check it tomorrow.
Ooh.
I can change that too. It was just questions for tonight because last week was so rough, and so I'm trying to get ready for my Booch thing on Friday.
Yeah. No, we can do a
I'm
walkthrough.
so excited for that. I have like 3 massive jars
Oh, do
that
you?
are full of dry goods right now, but they're
Ready.
ripe and ready for nooch. Not nooch.
Alrighty. All right.
Booch.
Do you need a SCOBY? I can hook you up.
I do.
Okay. Yeah, we can work that out this week, and I can get a SCOBY and some juice to you.
We'll
That'd
do
be
it.
amazing.
All right, I'm going to run over to Rocket
So-
Bean's house. Oh, go ahead, Kat.
From experience, don't put too much chia seed in there. My roommate in PT school made homemade kombucha and put too much chia seed that exploded everywhere.
For the record, I have never once heard of chia seed in kombucha, but I am so gonna do that.
Yes, just put a little bit because we were finding those things when we moved out. They were just everywhere.
I've never heard of these two things encountering each other in one location.
Yeah, me neither. I'm a little amazed.
I know nothing about kombucha, so I'm looking forward to Friday.
Yeah. It's good
All
stuff.
right.
Catherine, do you need a SCOBY? Or are you just going to watch?
I'm going to watch and see what I can do. I'm failing at many. I'm not much of a homemaker, so I've been trying these homemakery things everyone's doing, and I'm really more of a throw it together with whatever's around person. Planning ahead's not my strong suit, but I'm going to watch and see how complicated it seems.
Fair enough. I do like to play with fermenty things, and so
Me too.
I recently did some kimchi.
Mm.
Ooh, how'd that turn out?
Oh, it was good, and it was stupid easy. The hardest thing about it was in the Asian grocery store finding just a couple of the ingredients that I needed.
Right.
I knew what ingredients where I needed. I knew where the Asian store was, all that. In the actual store, finding the actual thing was really hard.
I just remembered that I have a ton of extra salt accidentally, so I'm gonna, before I forget, tonight I'm gonna try and ferment a couple egg yolks, and that should be really fun.
There you go. Nice. Also,
Yeah.
if you decide you want to do some kimchi and you do the one that uses the like little fermented shrimps, I have like the whole jar. So,
okay.
and that was actually the hardest thing to find in the Asian store was that particular jar, because I went to Fubon, and so they have every single different country
Right.
there. And so it was this like one specific Korean item, and it's refrigerated, which I wasn't even looking in the refrigerated section. So,
Well, I'm going to get something. Hold on just a second. I'll show you something.
but so it was super easy, and Hannelore, it's ready in like 2 to 3 days.
Nice.
Yeah, it's done so easy. So there's a YouTube woman, and she's so stinking adorable. I can't even stand it. Her name's Maangchi, Maangchi, I think. And she does really, really great videos for it. Plus, she's so cute, and just to watch her eating her stuff at the end, she's like, she's like,
It's
so
never Food Network Channel TV show.
yeah.
We went to the superstore, the Asian superstore last night because we're getting sick of like cooking the same things.
Right.
And I just really miss Indian food, which is something I'm used to.
Bye.
Are you leaving?
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Nice to meet you.
Bye, thanks.
Well, now I'm just talking to you blank screen people, but these shells are so crazy. They're $1.35.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, nice.
Last night I made enough we could have fed 6 people with one of these spice packets. And what's great about it is because I don't know how to cook with Indian spices, right? So I don't even know how to do the ratio. Like a recipe for me, it looks really complicated when it starts to talk about like karom and fenugreek seeds and cumin and cardamom and pepper and getting a balance that I'll like, and like, you know, and bay leaves and like all this shit these are fucking crazy, you guys.
Cool.
Wow.
Goddamn.
Nice.
Because we were like blown away. The food was delicious, and I have no idea how to cook that kind of food.
Yeah, you can just get a packet of all the spices and everything and be able to just throw it in. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really rad, and it was really high quality too. Like there were whole caraway seeds and things in there, like whole.
Nice.
What was it, babe? Cardamom. I don't even know what it's called. I grew up in Florida. I didn't see an avocado until I was like 25. So.
Nice. Now you're making up for lost time.
Right.
Welcome to Oregon. We
Yeah.
do
Yes.
crazy foods here.
I'm running over to Rocket Bean's house because she's giving me this light fixture, and I'm gonna leave one on her porch because she likes she likes finds like this too. So
Nice. I actually tried the Trader Joe's the frozen gnocchi last night, and it was surprisingly good.
the frozen gnocchi with what?
From Trader
It was
Joe's.
surprisingly good. You
Oh.
just put it in and heat it up, and it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've had that with the cream sauce all already in the packet.
It was a tomato-based sauce, but yeah.
Oh yeah. I thought that was great. We took that camping, and I was like, this is living.
Oh, that's a great idea because you can keep it cold and it can keep other things cold, and then you just cook it when you're ready. That's awesome.
Yeah. I might want to start a network where people camp in each other's backyards during the.
Seriously, I would be in.
Same.
Oh, it's good to see you guys. That was a silly
You too.
chat. We had fun. We learned a couple things.
Yeah,
Yep.
Moving on.
great.
Definitely.
Thanks.
I will email you that that slideshow. I got some feedback on it from another official, so I'm gonna incorporate that, and then I'll send it to you, Kat. And I think I sent it to Matt already, and I'll send it to Doof as well.
Awesome. Thank you for helping us make progress.
Oh, I'm having fun with it. I had to
Oh, good.
step away from a couple days because I like got really into it, but I'm having.
Yeah, I have fun with those little graphics and screenshotting things and moving them around. It's actually kind of fun.
Yes, and this one has movies and everything, so I'm pretty stoked.
Cool. All right,
Yeah.
you guys. I'll see you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Take care, stay safe.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.